Welcome back to another GeekaWhat video, and today I'm taking you over the best $750 gaming PC build for the months of August and September 2016. I've been doing a lot of these recently, so go back and check for other budget ranges if that's what you need. But let's kick it off with how this build performs. Now this build's going to smash the latest AAA titles at 1080 and 1440p. You're also going to be able to crank textures and ambient occlusion up quite a bit due to the 8GB frame buffer on the graphics card. So let's kick the build off, as always, with the CPU. Now the CPU I went for was Intel's Core i5-6500. It's a quad-core CPU and comes clocked at 3.2 GHz. Overall, it's a really nice CPU. It isn't overclockable, but if you did have an overclocking SKU, you would need a more expensive CPU, you would need a better CPU cooler, and a more expensive motherboard. And it simply wouldn't warrant very good value, and the gaming performance would be lower. 3.2 GHz is a very healthy clock speed anyway, and that's what I've chosen in this build. Now, I did go with the CPU cooler. Whilst we're not overclocking, a more budget-end CPU cooler is absolutely fine. Cooler Master's Hyper 212 Evo is a really solid option. It's one of the best kind of cheaper air coolers out there and has over 1,000 5-star reviews on Newegg. It's the most popular CPU cooler out there, a really good choice. For the motherboard, ASRock's H110M-HDV is an LJ1151 motherboard with SATA 3 6GB per second, USB 3 and PCI 3, allowing us to connect fast transfer devices, fast hard drives and SSDs, and of course our graphics card. Overall, it's a really solid motherboard and supports up to the i7-6700K. For RAM, one 8GB DIMM of Kingston's HyperX Fury Black is a really solid stick of DDR4. DDR4 2133MHz isn't the fastest DDR4 speed by far. However, for gaming you don't really need anything too fast, and it's not going to benefit unless that game engine is optimized, for which most of them actually aren't. Now you don't need dual channel performance either, i.e. having two 4GB DIMMs, and all that's going to do is clog up the DIMMs on your motherboard. Instead, in a year's time, 2 years time, you can just get exactly the same RAM once again and actually have 16GB of RAM in your system. Getting a separate SSD and hard drive for this build simply wasn't feasible within the price confines, and the next best thing is Western Digital's Black series of drives. This is a 1TB drive, and it's a hard drive but combines the speed of an SSD with that. You've actually got a flash module that you'd find in an SSD in this hard drive, so it's like a mini SSD, if you will, inside, and that will automatically see what it is you use the most and put that there. Theoretically, kind of increasing speed but allowing you to still have that big capacity for your movies, music and your games, that kind of thing. But the star of the show in this build is the video card. Sapphire's Radeon RX 480 is an 8GB graphics card. It's a new one from AMD. 8GB is great for your textures and that kind of thing, and this new RX 480 competes kind of hand in hand with the GTX 980 from NVIDIA. You've got a really solid card for both 1080 and 1440p, and you saw the benchmarks at the beginning. They really do speak for themselves. A really solid option. For the case, NZXT's S340 comes in white, black and red, black and blue, and of course black and green Razor Edition, but I shoved a white one into this build. It's a solid case. You've got power supply cover, you've got SSD show off area, you've got enough room for SSDs and hard drives if you did want an SSD later on down the line, and supports up to full-size ATX motherboards and power supplies. Easily one of the best cases for me of 2015, and nothing as of 2016 has quite surpassed that just yet, especially at this price point. For the power supply, 600 watts is more than enough for this build. The EVGA 600B is a 600 watt 80 plus bronze certified power supply. You've almost got double the headroom with this build, only consuming 310 watts of power. It's a really nice power supply, and the 80 plus bronze certification guarantees it's going to run above 85% efficiency at all times. Not only saving you money at the wall by kind of wasting less energy, if you will, but also increasing the lifetime and longevity of your components. A power supply really isn't something you should overlook, and this EVGA is definitely sufficient. If you did enjoy this build, make sure to drop a like rating and of course to subscribe. Drop a comment with any questions and that kind of stuff down below, and hit me up on Twitter if it gets a little bit crowded down there. That's at GeekaWhat. But if you did enjoy this video, as I said, make sure to drop a like rating, and as always, we will see you in the next GeekaWhat video.